I believe that they are going to crush these guys tonight.
Boy, we have had a day already, and we are just getting started. As DLLS Pregame Show, Dallas Stars against this team I've heard is kind of good. Yeah, haven't seen them since Game 2. Stars Avs. After the deadline, today, DLLS Pregame Show starts right now. Welcome, everybody, to the DLLS Stars Pregame Show alongside the not one, not two, not three, but I have to put the pen down, 4-time champion, at least as far as rings for sports. That's not counting day drinking. That's not talking about Wahoos. Not talking about softball. Stanley Cup 1 and 2, national title 1 and 2. Craig Ludwig. How about that for an intro? You
Sounds
get used
like
to that.
You're a bit punch drunk from this long day that we're having.
We're
right now.
only halfway there. We got another game to go. That's right.
We have 4 hours to go, don't we? 5 hours?
Yeah, we'll probably be done around 11 or so. Yeah. He's Luds.
Wonder who's running to the store.
I'm Owen. That's Ryan. Sam is not on the pregame show because Jim Nill is speaking with the media in 13 minutes over at the American Airlines Center. So we can't have him giving us lineup updates when the GM of the Dallas Stars is talking on trade deadline day. So he's covering that. We'll talk about that later. Maybe either he'll tweet stuff or we'll catch him in the post-game show. Before we get into all that we have to talk about, and way more than a half hour can cram it all in, but we'll do our best. Let's talk about St. Patrick's Day. When I was talking earlier about Luds and day drinking champions, you can see the shirts. All cities St. Patrick's Day shirts available now, including, what's your favorite? Is it the one with the little Sam sitting in the beer mug?
I was just going to say, I thought you were going to say the day drinking champions. Is that say with an S?
Yeah, like more than one. It should be singular.
Why do I have that one?
You should have the one with Sam.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, why does it have an S on it? There's two of me when I'm walking around?
Maybe if everybody else is having too much fun, they see two of you.
Yeah, I'd prefer the little leprechaun there holding the... What is that, a basketball trophy? Or what's he holding? Is that a beer in his hand?
I think it's the sun.
Doesn't it look like the NBA trophy?
Say yeah!
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
That's from John Anderson. That's a leprechaun drop right there.
He's dead to us.
He's here tonight. He's literally in the building right now.
Well, then he's a ghost.
Yeah. Well, John, the Cowboys producer now, is producing for the Mavs show tonight. So anyway, let's talk about this one. We have Stars and Avs, we have trade deadline and all that implies, but let's go to the lineup first for the Stars, because earlier today on our trade deadline show, I urge you all to go watch. We didn't talk too much about this game because we knew we would have the pregame show. But that's right, Roope Hintz is going to play tonight after being out for basically since the Olympic break back with some horrible illness. Luds, you talked about this at the end of the trade deadline show. The biggest ads for the Stars are probably Roope Hintz and Mikko Rantanen, and they get half of those back tonight.
Yeah, it'll be nice, and I don't think we should expect too much from Roop here. You know, he's been out, and we know last time that Mikko was out, lost a lot of weight, and apparently it was a pretty good one that went around. Yeah, anytime I think you have some kind of virus and you're out for 3, 4, or 5 games or whatever it may be, it's a good one going around. I've heard about some other players around the league getting the same thing. So anyway, yeah, it's nice to have Hintz back, and it's always interesting to me, especially this time of the year, how coaches handle minutes. You know, and how, is he going to play? Is he going to play 16 minutes tonight, or is he going to play 22 or 23 and just kind of throw him into the deep end of the pool?
Well, take a look at the lineup again. If Ryan's going to pop that back up on the screen real quick, I said that right when he was trying to get up and adjust something. So, no surprise, Luds, that Hintz goes back to the middle. He's the number one center on this team right now, right? Wyatt Johnston to the wing here. They keep him with Robo, and honestly doesn't mix up a lot of other things. Thoughts?
Well, I like Wyatt in the middle of the ice, but yeah, I mean, it's nice that you have the versatility of Wyatt that can play wherever you need him to play. The name I pops is Bork. Like, Maverick was playing so well up there
with Robo.
Yeah, and I like that
Hintz.
up there. Yeah, so.
But then what do you do with Wyatt?
Yeah, there's
right.
I don't know what you do with this lineup and how he wants to see and things like that. I mean, Wyatt. For me, you could put Bork back up there. You could move Ritskovian. You can move Adam Ernie over to the right side, put Ritskovian on the left side, put Wyatt in the middle there.
You could.
But I think that, you're not probably giving Wyatt to play with the guys that he's been playing with at certain caliber players. But that spreads it out a little bit for me. I never expected, again, whether it's Gully or any other coach, I don't think I ever expected to stay the same way it's on the board all the time.
It will be interesting to see what they do. So the Stars made 2 deals at the trade deadline the last 2 days. Nothing today, but they acquired Michael Bunting yesterday from the Nashville Predators, and of course Tyler Myers, that we've talked about both of those guys at length in the last 48 hours, but from the Vancouver Canucks. They both were here this morning, and we're going to hear from both of them, but neither one is going to play tonight. And granted, this is the number 1 team in the league points-wise against the number 2 team in league points-wise. They happen to be the same conference and, of course, the same division. But I think a 1,000-foot view of this, Luds, is there's no reason to shoehorn these guys in quickly when you have another game. This is the first of a 6-game homestand. They play at home on Sunday, late afternoon, 5 o'clock game against the Chicago Blackhawks. We're working that one as well, as we always are. But in all seriousness, it's not like, I know everyone's excited to play with the new toy, right? But you don't have to cram those guys into the lineup. You can let them get acclimated, skated a couple times, and figure it out.
They're both a little bit different. So Bunting, did he just get into town like today? Did I see him touring around the locker room this morning?
He was on the ice and everything.
So he probably just the first time on the ice.
I think he like Tyler Myers flew in yesterday and got in the evening, and I think Bunting probably did as well.
Yeah.
So I think this morning was their first introduction to the locker room, the players, and being a Dallas Star.
Yeah, that's the Bunting thing for Myers. He hasn't played a game in over a month.
Because of the being held
the
out.
Olympic break, and he missed, he was held out for 3 games. Unless you count taking warm-ups, which is nothing more than waving to your family up there, knowing that you're not going to play in any of the games in Vancouver. I mean, I think he took every warm-up, which is odd to me. I mean, you never know. That puck that can just come flying around and catch you, next thing you know, that deal's off. So anyways, so they're not in the lineup, and give him a couple more days to get used to the system, and especially for Myers, because he's playing a little bit different system, here than he was in Vancouver.
All right, Ryan, throw the deep pairings up, if you would, please, that we're anticipating tonight. And again, this is based on yesterday's practice group. No changes today because Tyler Myers isn't going to play. Now, we've all speculated as to whether Myers will get his first crack with Harley or maybe with Bischel. Either way, I'm encouraged by that. Who comes out? Would it be Lundqvist? Would it be Lyubushkin? Would it be both and they put Petro back in? All those options are on the table, but the Stars right now, because they sent Arttu Huru down to make room for Roope Hintz to come off of IR, then they added Bunting, they added Myers. They've got lots of options with Hintz getting healthy, Rantanen a little further. Unfortunately, we heard that Foxa yesterday at practice is going to be a little bit further than Rantanen, which is going against the 99.9%. We kid Gully, but obviously in all seriousness, we want Radek to get healthy and feel good and then be able to play again. But those guys will be back at some point, and it's going to make the competition for jobs on both the forward lines and the blue line very, very competitive.
Always a good problem to have.
Yep.
What I'm going to be curious most about, I think, and we haven't even main Petro's name in there, right? And so What I'm curious about is the Lundqvist Lyubushkin, how that's going to play out. And it may be who you're playing against. I don't know if there's a weightier team. Lyubushkin would have a little bit more to bring. But I've said this many times. I think Nils has been really good this year, and playing with Thomas Harley.
Do you think he's been better since coming back from his long-term injury?
Yes. Yeah, and he could have been better right from the beginning of the year with a new attitude and Jim talking to him, come on back. He signs a deal to come back and all this other kind of stuff. Playing in the top 4 is psychologically something, too, about it. Being able to play a steady shift. He didn't really get that. With the last coach go around here, it was in and out and all that other kind of stuff that was going on. I think his confidence has grown. I think he's been really good. But if there's ever going to be a concern, it's obviously going to be, especially in the playoffs, is weighty in your own end. Are you able to play that game every other night against some bigger players, whoever the matchups end up being? which is where you have Lyubushkin, Petro, if they need them to throw them in there. And again, Petro was great in the playoffs last year. So
and good to start the year too.
Yeah.
It just faded a bit.
Well, it faded again. I think he just got comfortable. Sometimes when you're down in the lineup a little bit, it is easy to get comfortable. And so you try to do a little bit more, and you navigate a little more up the ice where you got them to say, come on, play or get a house, stay here, because you were just doing those little things where the pucks are in, pucks are out. You finish your checks. The next thing you know, I specifically remember a couple, he's skating through the neutral zone. When he first got here, that puck, he was at the red line, that puck's going in. And he tried to make a couple different plays. They turned around, they came back. They're just minor things, but sometimes it's more about got to get him back to ground zero, let him get that way. And then all of a sudden he comes out, they start winning, and you don't get back in the lineup, and that's kind of where you're at right now.
Well, with that, we have a couple of quick things to bring up. Oh, by the way, the Stars are on a franchise record 10-game winning streak. Can you believe it took us almost 15 minutes to mention that, because you'd think that'd be the lead, but there's been so much news over the last day or two. But they've won 10 in a row. Granted, your point the other night after the big wins over Vancouver and Calgary was maybe the strength of opponents over that 10-game stretch hasn't been the highest. Now, they beat Vegas, leading the Pacific for whatever that's worth. Beat the, I think, playoff team Utah Mammoth. I think we're going to see them as a wild card team. I'd be shocked if they didn't, especially after going out and adding Mackenzie Weegar to their blue line. But this is still a team that has to get it done, and they've done that even with the break in the middle of it. So, chance to go for 11 tonight, but this is against the Colorado Avalanche, and this is a different beast altogether. This is a team that they haven't seen since Game 2 of the regular season, and oh boy, do they have some numbers in their favor.
Yeah. Especially the goal, the plus minus. They've been on a roll, but they went through a period of, I don't know what it is, 30, 40 games where they're only losing a game every other month. It seems like
it was 40 games. They lost 2 in regulation.
Yeah, and then they hit a pocket here,
So I believe it's early January. They went in a 10-game span. They went 3-5-2, which for them is catastrophic.
Yeah,
because usually it's one loss every month.
But that's where sometimes you don't want the playoff or the trade deadline to come into play, and then there's times you do. Mm-hmm. And for good teams, I'm talking about, and this may have been the proper time for them. And the Olympics and all that other kind of stuff comes into play. They can take a breath. It didn't seem like they could catch up. The schedule, once you start losing a game here and there, you're always kind of going, okay, well, we got a 3-day break coming up. Well, that doesn't happen this year. Mm-hmm. And so things weren't going well. Played a lot of games in not many days. And then they get a little bump, over the trade deadline, obviously pick up a player here or there. And then late as of today, like you said, now they get a bump. And so I think that they have an old teammate coming back into the room, which is probably, in a way, I think this actually puts more pressure on that team. Not that when you go through the majority of the regular season, you're on top of the league the whole year. From here to here, there's pressure on you to win every night, right? And that's good. It's good pressure. But then that skid happened. But now there's even a little more pressure because you think that they're adding a guy like Nazem Kadri to the lineup, former teammate, won a cup with them, apparently well liked in the room, and all this other kind of stuff. You hope you don't lose your focus, but this may be a bump for them, getting them back because there was a lot of buzz out there, and here we go.
We're going to talk about I saw the comment just now about their power play. We're going to get to that because that's the outlier of all these numbers that just make the Avalanche look great. They've won 3 in a row. They are 5-1 in their last 6. That's on the heels of that 3-5-2 stretch from early to mid-January. Granted, they're probably a lot more like the team that's won by very amazing 41 games of 61 so far. They're 41-10-9, 91 points, first in the league, obviously first in the Central. But they do have some flaws, although they address some of them today, which we'll get into as well. So let's take that moment now, because on the other side, just how good are the Avs? We'll get into it here on the DLLS Stars Pregame Show, not the Las Vegas Mavericks Pregame Show.
What was that? What did I miss something here? The Las Vegas Mavericks show?
Yeah, do you remember the...
No, I don't.
Okay, well, would you remember we were talking about how they were having a court hearing today, the Stars and Avs? The Stars attorney said called them the Las Vegas Mavericks, and that's the Dallas Mavericks. It was an intentional slip of the tongue.
Whose attorney was this?
For the Stars.
Oh, that's nice.
It was a little shot.
Well, at least you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, are we pulling up some shirts and things like that? Okay, so let's get the 53 shirts, 16 bet.
That's right, lads. You're
there
on
we
top
go.
of it.
I nailed it. I don't know if Wyatt's going to get a power play goal tonight. Okay, I called it the last couple of games. I'm just saying he's going to get an assist or two on it, and we don't have this shirt. We got the picture of Robo, and so I walk into this little establishment. We had a 3-hour break today in between our little show thing that we did today. And I just happened to have a couple guys come over and sit down with me. And I'm like, wait a second. We need this picture.
You're on the top line, lads.
I know. But what I'm thinking Robo's going to have a big night tonight. Okay. Not Wyatt. I'm going with Robo. So I think that. Between those two guys, they may have 3 points. I just don't know which way it's going to go.
Are you the Rope Hints placeholder right now?
I don't know. I'm just
You're centering that line.
Sitting there trying to show how many empty bottles are not in front of me. That was it. So anyway.
I love it.
Yeah. So I figured I'm thinking Robo, and we need to get a Robertson shirt. I mean, this is getting to be ridiculous.
I think so, right?
The point is here.
AllDLS.com. Get your merch today. It's incredible, and you should. But also, I looked through the chat. Conspiracy Santa. What a handle. Using the Bing Bong. That means you're a Supporters Club member. You can also see the SC badging. So in addition to being a diehard, which is a subscription for DLLS, you can also sign up on a monthly basis to be in the Supporters Club, which is a special little thing for real sickos on YouTube. And you get a badge next to your name, so it shows up when you're in the chat. If you're watching us live, this is where it benefits. And all those little emojis, including the Luds emoji, the Stanley Cone, the little tank, the Bing Bong, you name it, those are all for you if you sign up to be the Supporters Club member. And again, occasionally content videos, which are also funny sometimes. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute, Luds. This is the best team in the NHL. They went, as far as record goes, the Colorado Avalanche, I would say, is the team that has the number one odds to win the Stanley Cup, right, as it stands right now.
Yeah.
They are, as I said, 41-10-9. The first 40 games of the season, this is just, it's obscene, really, because they had 31 wins, 2 losses in regulation, and 7 overtime points. They played 863 hockey in half a season. They're only playing about 800 hockey for the year, which is, ho-hum, whatever. And yet, this team, which plus minus is off the charts, goal scoring, they win games, they pile them up on you. They don't mercy rule, right? They just keep going. 32nd ranked power play in the league, 15.5%. They are 3 for 14 in their last 5, which is 21.4% after an 8-game power play goal drought where they didn't score 17 attempts over 8 games. How can a team so good with 2 of the best players on the planet, McKinnon and Makar, be so bad on the power play?
I just think if you watch enough of the Avs play and you close your eyes, you can see their setup, right? You can, where does McKinnon, let's go back to the playoffs and playing against Dallas Stars and Jake Oettinger. Where does McKinnon score his goals from?
The left circle.
Same spot every
He
night.
goes right to that off wing.
And again, some people will say, well, Ovechkin does the same thing. But I find their setup, they played like a 1-3-1, okay, diamond, whatever you want to call it. But I find them to be predictable. And you've got Natchez over here on the far side that you try to get him for one. You got Nelson in the middle. You have Landeskog in front of that, which when I go to Landeskog, yes, he's their captain and he's a big heartbeat of that team. I don't know what he's got for power play goals. Does he have more than 5 power play goals? I don't think he even has a couple power play goals. And I'm thinking one of the most dangerous guys, and again, this isn't, I don't need anybody to hear this and change it up. But
no, keep it going. It's fine.
To me, I think one of the guys they're missing there on that power play is Val Nichushkin. Now, I don't know what Val has for numbers. He may only have 3 or 4
What's
or 5
your guess
power.
for, I have it here, how many power play goals do you think Val has this season?
I'm going to say that Val probably has 4 or 5.
You are way over.
Way over? Okay,
He has 1.
Then 2 or 3.
1.
Val's got 1?
Val has 1. Their big power play guys are McKinnon and Nelson have 8. Natchez has 7.
What's Landeskog have? 1? Maybe?
1.
Yeah, 1.
Like, think about that. Natchez 7, McKinnon 8, Nelson 8. Makar only has 2. That's surprising for a guy that shoots a lot.
Yeah. Well, and he's another one. I think he's off a little bit this year. I mean, he's probably got close to 20 goals again.
McKinnon's got 41 goals and 100 points.
Yeah.
Second most points in the league right now.
How many did you say he had on the power play?
8.
8, yeah.
8 of 41.
So he does his work 5-on-5.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, that becomes predictable because I think from a goaltender standpoint, I pretty much know what that guy's going to do. I mean, it's going to come over and it's generally going to be a one-timer. It may even be down by the goal line at times. He'll shoot the puck. But again, don't want to tell him anything, but what would be more...
don't give him any trade secrets.
What would bother me a little bit more is if they had more movement on their power play and they interchange positions. I mean, let's just take a look at Dallas's power play. We see Robo on this side. We see Wyatt here. We see Hintz there. We see Rantanen here. And then all of a sudden, no, it's Robo in the slot and Wyatt's down on the goal line. And so it's hard to game plan for that when they're moving around. And yes, they've got 5 studs on there. And I'm not saying that Colorado doesn't, but I think Dallas has got, 5 solid guys. And again, you could say, well, Haskin and Makar. Yeah, okay, Makar's probably got the edge there. And yeah, McKinnon. But you've got Robo that can score. You got Wyatt that's at, 21, 22 now?
21. One more and he ties Cicerelli.
But what they don't have is they don't have the guy that's over there that used to wear number 96 there and has here that is setting these guys up. And that's probably the biggest piece that they're missing is they don't have Rantanen to make those unbelievable passes and plays and the things he can do, look that way, pass it over there. And he knows where everybody likes to have the puck in order to shoot the puck.
And the Stars have really benefited, including Wyatt Johnston, from that ability to set him up. Now, they did add a big piece. They weren't quiet at the deadline, right? They traded for Brett Kulak, and then he's going to be in the lineup tonight. This wasn't a today trade. They got Nick Blankenberg from the Preds as another depth piece on the blue line. But then the big surprise, the big news was Nazem Kadri back with Colorado. Now, the terms of the deal, which we didn't know when it happened on our live show, you can see it here now. So Victor Olofsson going the other way, who, by the way, has 2 power play goals for the Avs this year. Max Curran, a 2027 second-round pick and Colorado's first-round pick in 2028. Kadri with $1.4 million per year retained, which is 20%, and a 4th-round pick in 2027 coming back. Obviously, you can see it on the screen there. Luds, this is a big deal, right?
It's hard for me not to think that Colorado won this deal all the way around. I mean, Olofsson, okay, well, I think he had a stretch there a few years ago where, he was 15, 20 goals. Yeah, he's
got 11 this year.
Yeah, so I think, but I don't know about the other 2 players, and that's a future thing, which is where Calgary is. I mean, they're building and rebuilding their team. So I think for the here and now, starting with Joe Sakic and everybody upstairs, I think they've been seeing, and again, very similar to Jim Nill. Here we are. We're kind of at the doorstep of feeling like we're that team. You add the parts that you think you can without disrupting much of the chemistry and everything that's going on. But the nice part about it is probably for Calgary to bring back someone that's been there, understands the system, understands the players understand him. And I think today you had mentioned, we were watching something and Kadri had already been texting.
He was on TSN.
Yeah, he was already texting back and forth with the players and everything, and everybody was pumped up, and he was. So, it's like bringing an old friend back to town. And so I think that, what does that do with them? You're always worried about, now where does he slot in? They picked up Nicholas Waugh, who they probably had in that 3-hole. So,
and that was not an insignificant spend either. They spent a first for that.
Yeah, but now, I mean, what do you do with Kadri? I mean, are you going to put him in that 3-hole then? And then he's probably not playing with the same caliber guys, but you can't. I don't know how you break up Nelson's line. I mean, they've been going well up there. So anyway, it'll be interesting. That's good problems to have. So we'll see what they do. And then probably on the power play. I mean, what does he get on the power play? Is he going to – maybe that's where Landeskog comes off. Maybe that's part of why they picked him up is like he can help us on the one area of our game that we don't like right now.
Well, with that, we get our goalie matchups of the night. Mackenzie Blackwood against Jake Oettinger. Oettinger was huge in the first round last year. He was big in the first meeting this year. They won 5-4 in a shootout, Dallas did. October 11th, it was game 2. They had gone to Winnipeg and won. And then there was it was back and forth. Dallas had leads 1-0, 3-2, and 4-3. Colorado had a 2-1 lead, back and forth. McKinnon and Natchez each had 3-point nights, but the Stars won in the shootout when Mikko Rantanen scored the shootout winner in round 3. But Luds, Otter had, I think he faced like 36, 37 shots. Blackwood wasn't in the net that night. He was hurt. So it was Wedgwood, our buddy, who faced, I think, 22. There was a huge shot advantage. And I believe, if I remember correctly, Rantanen said sometimes you just don't have your legs. They looked like that. But Jake Oettinger is, I think, one of the most important parts of if you get to a Stars-Avs playoff series this year, he's a big part of the Stars' ability to get past them.
Oh, I said it today. I think Jake is the piece that has to be what we all know and think that Jake has to be that guy. Those goals, there's those certain goals that go in, and ones we kind of go, maybe he was screened. Maybe there's something we didn't see that he sees, and it's always about perspective. You got to look from behind, but I think Jake is the piece that now Dallas has got the team. I mean, I think just by what Jim Nill did or didn't do, however you want to look at it, they all believe in that. They believe in that they have the pieces. Their power play is one of the best in the league. They score goals at will. They're not a Carolina where they have to have 35 shots a night to score 4 goals. I mean, they can do that with 15, 20 shots. That might change here playoff time. But I think Jake Oettinger can't let that goal go in. That goal can't go in when the series tied 1-1 in game 3, and there's that sag in there. So hopefully Jake is on point, and he's got his gold medal now, and now it would be nice for him to have that Stanley Cup that he can have that medal on.
You want to hear from Sam? He just tweeted something. So
does that mean we have to hear from him?
No, I'll read what
is he coming on the show?
Not for the postgame.
Oh, he's coming on the postgame.
So they've been interviewing Jim Nill. Radek Faksa sustained a lower body injury while skating to rehab his Olympic injury. He was out of the end of the Olympics with an upper body. Now he's expected to be back just before the playoffs or soon after they start.
Yeah.
Tough break for him.
Where's that bubble wrap? Do we have Sam's bubble wrap?
We have his helmet.
Yeah, we should give him the pink helmet and Sam's
Nill
bubble
also
wrap.
says that Mikko Rantanen is 7 to 10 days away from skating, which means another, 3 weeks at least?
Yep.
So
which was good.
That's end of March.
Let's see. Faksa, when the Olympics were over, was 99.9 to play in that game. That's down the road. Mikko was going to be 4 weeks from when it happened in the playoff. That's going to be almost double of that. So, that's just the way it works.
It also thought this was interesting. Jim Nill said that they didn't send Capo Bianco down because they didn't think he would clear waivers. They will carry 9 defensemen
That's good.
through the playoffs.
That's good. They should.
What about the coaching staff? How do you keep 9 defensemen ready when you don't have extra games?
Well,
they have a ton of games.
The coaching staff, they're overworked because they're staying out with the Black Aces. That's how you keep them.
Yeah.
And the game-like stuff, you don't. I mean, it's really tough to have that. And even what's going to happen in the playoffs, they're all optional practices anyways.
Right.
And you got the Black Aces out there. Maybe there's enough of them.
But you have 20 regular season games, and you have apparently 9 healthy defensemen. That's hard to keep everybody connected.
Well, I'm kind of thinking that whole want to keep everybody in it kind of scenario that started at the beginning of the year.
Aren't you trying to find rhythm at this point?
Yeah, especially when you got another defenseman back there.
With Myers,
and really, I mean, you got to get 7. I don't even to have 8. I think you have to have a rhythm with 7 of them, and I can't see them rotating Lundqvist, Lyubushkin, and Petro. I can't see them rotating especially in the playoffs. You're going to get in the playoffs and you're going to play.
Coaches are going to go with their 6.
Yeah, and
they think they can win.
Now, if the games are lost and you're trailing by a couple games and there was some glaring this or that, maybe the PK isn't good, a couple bad turnovers, that happens. But for the most part, you get in a groove, you ain't changing a lot.
So I wanted to play a couple clips, but we had to talk about that. We have a couple clips of Tyler Myers and Michael Bunting, and we could do it really quickly if you want to introduce yourself to the new players. But basically, that news of Faksa being out towards most of the rest of the regular season, if not into the playoffs, is not great news. The good news for Dallas is they have lots of healthy forwards right now, and with Bunting coming in, we're going to hear from Michael Bunting first, then we'll do Myers. But with Bunting coming in, somebody's going to get pushed out of the lineup, especially with Hintz back and then Rantanen. So they do have the depth to cover for Faksa, even though he would definitely be in the lineup if he were healthy. Here's Michael Bunting this morning after the morning skate which was optional, but everybody basically skated. And here's his introduction, just a little clip of him coming to Dallas.
I was really excited. Yeah, getting traded is never fun. You're leaving a team that you grew really close to. I have a lot of close friends on Nashville. I loved it there. I really enjoyed my time. Probably made some friendships that are going to last a lifetime. But when you're not in the playoff hunt and you get traded to a team like this, that's really in the hunt. It excites you. So I definitely had a smile on my face when I heard it was Dallas.
All right. There's Bunting. Now here's Tyler Myers, who also not playing tonight, but like Bunting, expected to make his Dallas Stars debut on Sunday against Chicago.
Well, you know what? I'm very well aware these guys have, been through a lot together, and it's an already great team. And I just want to come in and help in any way I can. These guys knows what it takes. They all know what it takes, and I just want to come in and help as much as I can.
So there's Tyler Myers. As you can tell, he's rather a tall human being.
I was going to say, is that Heike holding the camera looking out, or was that Sam?
No, that was Abby.
Oh, okay.
Now, Abby's not 6'3", but he's a big human. In fact,
he's 6'8".
Tyler Myers is in a stall there. Justin Ritzkovian is next to him, and then Leon Bischel is on the other side. So they literally have Myers and Bischel around Ritzkovian.
Yeah, that's not good.
I guess he was worried about legroom or something like that. Well, just so you know, Myers was traded for 2 days ago. They had time. He had his name bar already printed up in the lock. Michael Bunting not, so they put up
the
new guy, which is not the first time I've seen this in an NHL room, but I always get a kick out of it. It's funny when at least it wasn't a piece of hockey tape that said his name or something.
I'm kind of excited to see the first game where Myers and Bischel play together.
You think it's going to be them together?
No, but there's going to be a shift at times that they do. They might be out there killing penalties. I would hope that Leon can get to the point where he is a go-to PK guy, which he should be with his size and skating ability, reach, and all that with the stick. Because with those two guys out there, it makes it difficult on shooters just because of their reach alone. And if you get, as long as you play in the right spot, it's hard to get through them. Number one, and their reach. I mean, again, for passing lanes. And then being able to just tip puck. So it'd be nice if those two guys could get out there together.
All right, there you have it. If we didn't do enough, we have a full post-game show coming up after tonight's game. Stars and Avs at the AAC coming up in just mere minutes over on Victory Plus. Check them out. And come back to DLLS for the post-game with me, Luds, and Sam, and, of course, our producer, Ryan, right here on DLLS.
I believe that they are going to crush those guys.
Jeez.
We all silly like the mayor.